Wanted to chat a little bit about JC Jackson because I know obviously he was a big acquisition for the Chargers, really having that cornerback number one guy for the Chargers. And, he really hasn't truly panned out so far for this team. Now, once again, it's an interesting thing because in training camp, he was looking great. He was looking phenomenal as a player. And then it was, I believe, the scrimmage with the Dallas Cowboys. Something kind of happened at that point. That's when they started talking about an ankle injury. That's when they started talking about, hey, we need to get his, that bone taken out of his heel of his foot. And that's going to make a difference because he was having an irritation or some soreness because of it or whatnot. There's a side to it that I feel like, was that surgery even necessary? It still was kind of one of those things that I just felt like, hey, I mean, you get soreness in your ankles, you get a little bit of frustration of having maybe a little bit of irritation. If it's not really messing with, like, say, your Achilles or anything like that, does it really matter? Anyways, I'm not a doctor by any means, but at the same side, and I'm not obviously JC Jackson, I'm not the one feeling the pain or anything like that, but I still kind of try to figure out, was that even a necessary surgery at all? Because it could change a player for his career. If maybe that piece of bone was something that was extra for him that actually helped him out. But either way, we'll see what happens with that. I just wanted to go over and talk a little bit about kind of how he is playing so far. And recently he talked about this week that his ankle is at about 90% right now. And so he doesn't even know kind of when the ankle was injured, kind of thing. So going back to that surgery, maybe that surgery was necessary because maybe it did affect his overall health of his ankle or whatnot. I don't know, but it's interesting how he injured his ankle without really knowing how it was injured. So it's an interesting thing because way I'm looking at it, as he's 90% right now. We know when he came back from the Chiefs game, there was a couple missed plays and such too. Even within the Texans games, a couple missed plays. We're not seeing him as a cornerback one. We're seeing him as, oh man, like, we got to be a little worried about this guy. But we know what JC Jackson does. He's Mr. INT. I think it's just going to take a little bit more time for him to be able to heal up, get really, really, truly back into shape, and be ready to go for this team. We know his intangibles. We know what he could do. He leads the league in interceptions. He's phenomenal as a guy. He's got 440 speed at 4.46. I mean, extremely fast in a sense. He's a solid defensive back and very, very aggressive when the ball is there for him to take. So I wanted to kind of go over just kind of what his stats are kind of looking at right now and his metrics currently right now. His opportunity right now is snap share right now is about 80%. He's about 36th in the league. Now, once again, he hasn't played a couple games, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's kind of one of those things that we just have to kind of just say, hey, like, that's what it is. Targets allowed, he's allowed 10. He's number 13 in the league. So it's not like there's a huge amount of targets that are coming towards him, but it's about 5 per game pretty much. So he's 13th in the league on that. His target rate is at a 15.4% right now. So he's 34th in the league. He's defended about 65 routes right now, which is about 81 in the league. So he's definitely out there running around doing what he needs to do, which is good. I think that he will only get better with the season. I've been a little critical on him recently, but at the same side, like, knowing that his injury is still kind of bothering him, time for him to kind of get really back into things. So I really wanted to target his productivity too, because his target separation right now is about 3.6 yards. So he's got a lot of separation between his targets. So that's something he needs to start shoring up. Now with that ankle, I think he'll be able to kind of close that gap too. He's allowed about 9 receptions right now. So roughly about 4.5 receptions per game so far. He's 31th in the league right now. And then 112 yards allowed, and he's 44th in the league right now. So as a cornerback, you want to tighten that up. I mean, we got guys like Derwin James only giving up, I think I've heard 15, 20 yards this season so far. So pretty incredible to see. So his yards per reception, 12.4. I mean, that's pretty bad as a cornerback to be able to give up that much yards. So you these things are going to start tightening up at some point. So his yards per target allowed, was 11.2. He's 84th in the league on that. So, and at the same side, it's crazy to think that he has no pass breakups right now at all. This guy is way too talented to only have that, and he's allowed 1 TD this year so far. So, bottom line, there is something that he will only get better. I'm sure he will get back to form. I'm sure we'll start seeing Mr. INT at some point here, and I'm sure that he will only get stronger with that ankle. But it is right now, it's kind of tough to be able to see these two current games and having this kind of frustration of what's going on here with him. But once again, he's a little injured. He's banged up, but he's going out there and doing his job. So one thing too, his catch rate right now currently was only at 90%. I mean, once again, if you don't got any batted balls, if you don't got interceptions, your catch rate's probably pretty high. And he's allowing a very, very high passer rating of 157.1 right now. That is not good. So there's a lot of things that I know he's going to clear up, and there's a lot of things that I know he's going to get better. I know with PFF, he's ranked, I think he's in the 30s overall as a cornerback in the league right now. That's not a good showing. If we know JC Jackson, he's a guy that was undrafted, a guy that had to prove himself with the Patriots, dug himself into that team and found a way to be able to be a starting cornerback and play extremely well for him. The guy has a chip on his shoulder. You know this is not where he's going to be at. You know he's going to find a way to be able to get back to form. You know that he's going to be a guy that ends up finding a way to be able to be a better cornerback for us. I mean, what's crazy about this is that, you know, even with JC Jackson not playing as well right now, you got Asante Samuel who's balling out right now. You got Derwin James who's looking great. You got Drew Tranquill playing out of his mind as one of our linebackers. You know, there's a lot of positivity in that backfield right now. Albeit, I'll even say some of these, like with the Texans game with the long touchdown they gave up, I think that Adderley was a little bit out of position on that one. I do feel also with the Chiefs game, Adderley was a little bit out of position there. He should have been playing a little bit more deep. So, and when JC Jackson was covering him, obviously, those are things that I know will kind of change up and will get better for us. And I think those things will only get stronger for us. So you can't put all the blame on JC Jackson every single time, but I know he is going to get back to form at some point in time here. So bottom line, guys, I don't think we need to be too hard on JC Jackson. He's only 2 games in right now. He's recovering from his ankle injury. You know, that will only get stronger as the season goes. So it's interesting that he did talk about he's about 90% right now. So, you know, I'd love to be able to see this game coming up against the Browns, seeing this as his first really, really breakout game for the Chargers. So we see the JC Jackson that we all know. So once again, guys, just wanted to be able to kind of shoot a quick video, talk about JC Jackson. We're looking forward to Mr. INT going out there and making plays for us. So we're excited to have him on. He was a huge signing for us. And, you know, he's only going to make our defensive backfield so much stronger as a team. So once again, guys, Bolt Bros, James, out.